Hey guys, and welcome back to Garden Evolution. Today we're talking about seeds that I'm starting for 2022. I have a number of things that I'm going to be starting and more seed orders to come. But I want to talk about the two ways that I'm going to be starting seeds, actually three. One is the winter sowing method, which is just using a clear plastic container. You've seen this done before on other channels where you take a container such as this, create a hinge just by slicing around the container and leaving a part to essentially create a hinge, and then taping this up. You also want to pop some drainage holes. And the other way is the traditional method, which is through seed cells and domes and such like that under lights, but we don't have very many this year to be doing that under. Thank you. And then also the other one is direct sowing. So when the ground warms up enough, we'll be able to put them straight out and just water them in and allow them to get established in place. So I'm going to be going over some of the seeds that I've purchased already that are here, some of the stuff that I'm going to be starting that I've had, and then I'll talk about which ones and which ways that I'm going to be starting them. So I've ordered from a couple different places this year. I've ordered from Prairie Moon's Nursery, which is a native plant company up in Minnesota. And then I also ordered from Select Seeds. Those ones are on the way. This is a leftover packet from last year. I've gotten stuff from just, the bins over at Walmart and Lowe's. These are the Ferry Morris brand. I've also, as usual, gotten seeds from GeoSeed. Now last year I did not get an order from them because of how far behind they were and how much of a pushback they kept putting stuff back with COVID going on. So this year I ordered extremely early. So I got everything that I needed from them, and then I decided to do another order later. I ordered one seed packet from Outside Pride, which I've used before. I usually don't do a lot of ordering from them, but their stuff is really good, and they have the sowing directions right on there. And a nice picture of what the plan is. So if you're looking for some stuff, definitely give them a try. It's about $5 a packet generally, and there's a good amount of seeds. This one's got 1,000 seeds, and we'll cover that in a minute. Other places that I've ordered from this year was, trying to think, I did Redemption Seed again this year. I've had really good success with them. And then I also did the Select Seeds, which those ones I already talked about, but those ones are on their way. So we'll go over quickly what I've ordered this year, which was Argyratum Flint, Red Flint. This one's from GeoSeed. This is a reddish pink version of the common blue Argyratum. There is also a white variety, but I wanted to try the red one out. This one's taller, about 1 foot to 2 foot tall. So I think these are really, really great for cut garden flowers. Also for the middle of the garden, I'm going to be using these in another thing that I'll talk about in our next video. I also have, these are from last year. These are Viola Tiger Eyes series violas. I have been very skeptical to start violas or pansies, but I'm going to give them a try. Better late than never, so let's give them a go. Hopefully I'll have them for spring. And here in Zone 6, Northeast Ohio, violas can go for a pretty long time, well into almost July for us. As far as Prairie Moon, I ordered quite a few native plants this year that I'm really excited about. And these are ones that I'm going to be starting in winter sowing containers just like these. This one is New Jersey Tea. It's a small shrub, about a 1 to 2 foot shrub. They are super, super pretty. I've seen these at the Kingswood Gardens over here in Mansfield when I went to visit to see Austin Eischide's install that he did of his naturalistic garden, and it's stunning. If you're ever in Ohio and near the Columbus area, Mansfield is just right outside of there, or you could hit the Mansfield Reformatory while you're there as well. But New Jersey Tea, it's super pretty. This one's a full sun to part shade plant. Then I also picked up, GMs have always been one of my favorite plants. I've got a couple varieties out in the garden already. This one is really interesting because this one's called Prairie Smoke. It has a really interesting, beautiful bloom that actually you're waiting to see the seed pod come through. I believe it's a seed pod, but they look like they're really, really cool. I'll put a picture up on the screen for you. Those ones are full sun to part shade as well. Now those ones will spread a little bit more aggressively, which is fine with me because I'm upping my game on ground covers and not needing to mulch every year, which is perfectly fine by me. I do not want to mulch every year. Another one I got was the big leaf aster. This is another native. These ones do good in partial sun to shade, and these will get about, I think this was about 2 foot. Really interesting foliage, really large for the aster family, and these really pretty, like pale blue white flowers. One I'm really excited about because I picked up a couple plants last year is called Western Indian Cyke. I actually have, I don't know the exact, I don't know if it's Western or if that's really a thing, but I picked up the pink profusion line, so they have a pinkish white flower. So I'm gonna give these ones a try this year from seed. These ones are supposed to be a little bit better than, there's another variety out there. It's not a cultivated variety, it's a natural, native variety. So this is, oh God, I'm gonna butcher this. Paradisio stipulatus. This is a full sun to part shade plant. This can do good in dry, medium wet conditions as well. So these ones I need to get in the winter sowing now because these need about 70 days of cold before they'll actually germinate. Classic Bradbury Monarda. This is about a 2 to 3 foot tall Monarda, I believe. And these do good in part shade to full sun. Another interesting plant that I don't think many of us have ever really seen, and it captivated me again at the Kingswood Gardens, was Pearly Everlasting. It has a beautiful silver foliage, kind of in essence of like if lavender was really large as far as like length of flowers and such. And then they get these really interesting white with a black yellow dot in the center. They were just really, really cool. They had them placed around the walkways at the place, and I just thought, I really need to get my hands on them. And sure enough, they're a native. See, you know, we look over native plants so often because, you know, they're native, but this is a native I didn't know existed, and now I'm excited to add it to my garden. This one's really cool. This is wild lupine. It's not your standard cultivated, such as, you know, your Russell's hybrid or the some of the other varieties. This one's actually a bluish purple variety. It gets a multicolor on it, lavender, and looks like a dark purple. I've had really good luck putting these out in winter sowing containers and getting the best germination. You can do these in root trainers as well, or just really maybe taking one of your bottles and cutting them up to here or maybe a little bit higher so you have that really deep length of soil. I know Brooke over at the Vintage Gardener uses solo cups with the milkshake lids, which is a really great idea. So if you want to, and since these seeds are a little bit bigger, this really works for that. You could sow these individually in the cups and they'll have plenty of area to put that taproot down. I also came across these last year. This is Spotted Monarda. This stuff is really, really cool and interesting. It's a whitish with a tinge of pink in it, and it gets these spotted markings in the center where there's the pollen, the stamen out of, and which is yellow. And they just they have a tear effect in them. They're really, really interesting. They do like it dry, medium dry to dry conditions. And I planted mine in a wet area, just thinking it was a normal bee-ball Monarda. No, they really do like this one dry. So lesson learned. Bought some seed, we're gonna start it over and try that. The other one that I think is really, really cool, which I think Patient Gardener Erin has mentioned, and I think it was with, I don't know if it was with or after her visit with Roy Diblick, which was these. These are an amazing looking flower. These are called Purple Prairie Clover. Now, you hear clover and you think the stuff that's growing in your lawn. No, these get tall. These will get about 18 to 24 inches tall, which is really cool. They have these beautiful flowers on them. Deer resistant, but rabbits do like them. But these guys, they just really, really they're just really, really pretty. The foliage is kind of like an open, airy type of foliage. From what I've seen, you can see a little bit here in that picture, just kind of how the foliage is. Really interesting plant. The bees really, really love them. I think they're one of the ones that Prairie Moon specifically, so favored superfood for the federally endangered rusty patched bumblebee. And as you know, we have so many different bumblebees and bee varieties. here in the States that you have to keep a wide variety of stuff available for them throughout the season, and to be able to keep them going. So a couple other things that I picked up was purple love grass. I've been really on a grass game this year. This one is full sun to part shade. This likes dry soil, and it blooms midsummer with these really pretty pink frothy blooms. This one would be great if you're trying to grow muhly grass and you've had really, not so good luck with that. Maybe give a native a try here. Little blue stem, Schizocarium. This is a small one versus the big blue stem, obviously. This one, I think it's 2 to 3 foot tall, and this likes medium to dry soil, so that's really good. Beautiful blue color. As fall approaches, it gets purple and some red coloring to it. Beautiful seed heads. Definitely something you want to consider adding to your garden. And then this one doesn't have a picture on it because I ordered a lot more than what a normal seed packet would be. This is Sporobolus heterolepis. This is Prairie drop seed. One thing I do really want to note on Prairie Moon Nursery is that on their descriptions here on their seed packet, they do show the sun requirements, soil, what lot it came from. So if you have bad germination, you can call in and let them know, and they can, handle that accordingly. It's packed for 2021, approximately 500 seeds in this packet of little blue stem, but also in the germination code at the bottom, which you can reference in their magazine or you can reference on their website. It says, but it also is listed here, says germination code A, seed should germinate upon sowing in a warm location. No pre-treatment is necessary. Plant no deeper than the width of the seed. For more information, check out our website and refer for germination instructions. So that one has that, and then I'll show you, so New Jersey tea. This one is a code C70, and the 70 indicates how long it needs to be for the cold. So seed germinates 70 days after cold, moist stratification. Or B, hot water treatment. Plant no deeper than the width of the seed, and then you can check out their website for more planting information. So I did collect a number of seeds for my own garden this year. The other one was standing ovation, blue stem. I actually don't have this plant. This was actually at my work. I know it may not come true to the variety, but I took the seeds anyway. I'm gonna try them, see what happens. Maybe something cooler comes out. Maybe I get really good just standing foliage, whatever. It was worth a try, and they're free. Doesn't cost me anything to give them a go. I'm a big coneflower goer, so I collected some seeds this year specifically from my Sunseeker salmon variety. I did note on here that it's open cross because there's many other coneflowers within the vicinity of it, so I'm not quite sure what the cross will be, but that's the fun of starting your coneflowers from seed and finding out what you might get. But also I did order from Creekside Nursery this year a whole flat. I should get about 21 of them of the Sunseeker. They're calling them rainbow. I think they are just salmon, but they do now have a white variety out that to me just wasn't anything to write home about. But the Sunseeker salmon, absolutely love. I've posted it on my Instagram multiple times and everybody just loves that one. I also did pick up Echinacea purpurea Rubenstein Ruby Star. This is just a refined, I guess, it looks like a normal coneflower. These ones get a little bit of taller coneflower, and I believe a little bit more, the color's a little deeper, but I've seen these multiple times, and I'm just like, why am I not growing these? I know it's standard, but these really do really great, and you just need something that, to me, they catch my eye, so that's why I'm growing them. I also did pick up the new variety, which is a seed strain called Paradisio Super Duper. This is a double coneflower from seed, which I think is very interesting considering I have Pink Poodle coneflower, which is a full double from Terra Nova that you can't find anymore. But this one, I'm curious to see how it performs, how it does. It is first year flowering from seed, so I'll test that. Speaking of like daisy type flowers, I'm going to be sowing Rebecca Sahara again. Everybody's pretty familiar with this one. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. I actually collected all the seeds from mine this past year before I yanked them. They could be hardy in zone 6. I didn't give them a shot because I bought a new shrub for that area and I really wanted it there, so I can start these from seed again and they bloom relatively quick. I'm going to be doing Love in a Mist. I've tried these before inside, not a good result. I'm going to throw them in the winter sowing containers and we'll call it a day and see how they do. They're pretty reliably hardy here as far as a hardy annual, so I don't see much issue there. I'm going to be growing some comfrey this year. Now, if you guys follow Gardener's World, you'll know that Monty Don does a lot of comfrey tea. So what it is you just grow the plant, you cut the leaves off, and you throw them in a bucket of water and let it sit for a couple weeks. They smell awful as you do it because it's like rotting down, but then you take out the rotted leaves, whatever's left, and then you can fertilize your plants with it. I can't remember if they're a good source of nitrogen or phosphate, one of the two, but I know it was an easy way to fertilize my garden in an organic matter and be able to have an everlasting supply. The trick with comfrey is do not let it go to seed because it will spread around and become quite obnoxious. So my plan is I'm going to put it in a section of the garden that I can keep an eye on, but it's not necessarily in my view constantly. And since I'll be hacking it down, I don't want a bunch of like cut plant matter, right? You know, just a cut plant all the time. So we'll figure that one out, but a great way to introduce some organic feeding to your garden at really cheap. This was like $4 for that whole pack, and there's 100 seeds. That's 100 plants. Can't beat it. Moving on to the Outside Pride. These ones I've seen all over Instagram, and I think they're absolutely adorable. And I'm really not into like that like frou-frou look. Bear with me, let me explain. I think these are very cottagey, which my garden is, but we're transitioning it to more of what my style is now, and I think that's okay. But I could not get away from these, and I'm going to try to pronounce this. It's Irrigan. It's a daisy-like little flower. This one's called Profusion. Get it up there. Super cute. These are perennial to zone 5 through 8, and these need full sun to part sun, preferring more full sun. They will seed around if they're happy, which is fine because they're actually very small. The plants, I think, they only get to 8 inches, which isn't bad. Do great in containers. So I'm really excited to see these, whether they bloom this year or not. But another thing with Outside Pride is your instructions are on the back here. And then they do have a lot of information on the plant on the front as well. Their website's really good about providing info as well on there, so you can always refer to that. A couple other things that I picked up were Astrantia major Prima Donna. This is a really cool plant that you don't see very often. Lismachia atropurpurea. This foliage is a blue-green, but it's a deep blue-green. I love Catamint. I can't seem to buy enough of it, and it gets really expensive to buy these very quickly. So I'll be doing some propagation on my Catamint nepeta, which is a sterile variety, whereas I picked up some seeds of Calamintha nepeta Marvelette White. So I like the white ones. I'm not a fan of the blue because the blue looks like it looks too much like common nepeta. So the white ones I really, really like. This one is a seed strain, so beware, it will set seed around. But it says that this variety does bloom all summer. So if you don't want the seeds, you could do some preen or just be adamant about plucking those out. Or if you have an area that you're looking to cover quite a bit, or in between plants and you want to create a natural drift, these might look really, really good, just allowing to go to seed and confining them to certain areas. Another couple seeds that I have picked for my own garden were butterfly weed. This is the orange variety that stays short. Love this plant, super easy to grow in winter sowing, or you can start inside. I prefer the winter sowing method with them. I also picked some of the seeds from my Midnight Masquerade penstemon. Now, I'm growing these for myself. This is a plant that's patented, so you can't sell the seeds from it, from my understanding. And if you come up with some variety from it that's amazing, guess what? The company owns that seedling. Because when you file, you have to note the parentage of it. So I picked it for myself. I'm just curious to see what would happen. I've got quite a few seeds. This plant really did put on quite a bit of seed mass this year, so I'm gonna give it a go, see what happens. Maybe I get something cool. Maybe I just get a number of black plants. That's really what I was after, was just a good source of getting black plants and see what happens. Started last year, these rusty foxgloves. I'm gonna give them a go again. I'm doing some Korean Angelica. Those are the dark purpley pink with the black stem Angelica, not the common white variety. I'm gonna be doing some more globe thistle. These are the blue ones. Really love that plant. One that I have not tried yet, which is blue woodruff. This will reseed around as on its own. It's an antique, considered an antique flower. It's a hardy annual, so and it does tolerate frost, full sun, part shade. This only gets about a foot tall, 8 inches wide. We'll see what happens. I won't be placing this anywhere near like my brick pathways because it'll get between there, but I don't mind it if it gets out in the grass and what such, because we don't irrigate very much, and this likes some evenly moist soils, so should be able to keep it at a bay. Delphiniums, can't go wrong with those. This one is the Pacific Giant Bluebird seeds, definitely a winter sower. I've gotten the best results with that. I'm going to be trying Agapanthus Colorado Coronado seeds. This is an orange red flowers. I'm not a fan of the pink, like the dusty lavendery colors. I do like the pinks, but I have had really good luck with the coral, so I'm going to give the orange ones a try out in our front garden area because it's so dry up there. I started some from seed last year. This is the Electrum. Oh, jeez, this one's hard. It's Korean meadow Ruth Electrum. If you are familiar with Electrums, come up with like a maidenhair type foliage, and then these beautiful sprays. This one has purple flowers with the little yellow antlers on them. Absolutely one of my favorite. These do get really tall. They can do good in full sun or part shade. If they're in any more shade than that, they do need staked, and there's a possibility they may not bloom as good. But give them a try if you can get your hands on them. I know GeoSeed has them, which is really cool. I did get a couple seeds sent to me from Heather from Here She Grows. This one is her Summer Spice Cordon Blue Hibiscus, her hardy hibiscus. I asked her, I said, I know this may not come true, whatever. Can you send me some seeds? I just want to try and see what happens from it. So I'm going to give them a go. I tried hardy hibiscus before. I'm going to have to outreach to my friend again and ask how they did it, but they had really good success, so why not? Last 3 things, and this video is a wrap. I picked some of these. These are salmon lobelia. This is the hardy one. This plant I acquired from a gardener an hour away from me. She sells plants and such, but she had a cross between a red and blue pop up, and it was like an orangey pink salmon color. I said, oh my gosh, I really need one of these. Can I purchase it? And she sent it home with me for free, even though I bought 1 plant from her, which I was super, super happy about. So she sent me one of those. I planted it. It rebloomed again, luckily, and I was able to collect the seeds before, got too cold, and it was able to develop. So we'll see what happens. I did spread some of the seed around where it's at currently, and then I'm going to try to winter sow as well some of those. This is Lobelia specioso. I did pick up 2 varieties here. I have the Starship Deep Rose, and then this is the Starship Blue. Now these are from GeoSeed, and it says PEL, and that means that they're pelleted for easier sowing. So I'll show you, there's 100 seeds in here, and they sent them in this great little vial, which I will keep on hand for later, but they're all fully pelleted, and they'll be easier to sow correctly. And I'm probably gonna do half of these in winter sowing, see how they do, and then maybe if all goes well, I'll do the rest of them the following year. Kind of same with the salmon. I just want to keep a reservoir of them, not a reservoir, but a stash of them, just in case for some reason the mother plant doesn't come back. But last time I was out there and checked, the plant still had a rosette of green down at the bottom, which is really good sign. So it's making it through and it's settled in well. So the next video will be covering hopefully my select seed and my redemption seed order that I got, and we'll talk about what all those flowers are for. There's a few that are just for fun, but the other ones were specifically brought in for a reason. I'm going to go through this another time because this video is already too long, and we will talk about some of the other seeds that I'm starting. If you're interested, I just throw all, this is literally my seed storing way. This is some type of container that I got secondhand, and then I collect my seeds in white envelopes. I have my other seeds. These are just the seeds that this is my seed container for what I'm starting that year. I go through all my seeds during the winter, decide what I'm growing, what I'm not growing, and then all my other seeds are upstairs in another container that are just not going to be for this year, based on the color effect that I'm going for, which is dark and moody, if anybody is interested. So it'll be a lot of wine, purples, blacks, just a lot of dark, rich, comforting colors to me. I'm not a fan of color, as you can see behind me. Modern abstract paintings, white walls, at least in this room it is, mid-century modern furniture. But we've been slowly transitioning to the style that really works for us, and that will be the same thing that goes on the garden. When we first purchased this house, I really thought, well, we've got this cute quintessential farmhouse. We're gonna start, going this traditional look and fancy. It's not for me. It's really not for me, and you can love it or hate it. I hope you're still around for the journey to come, because there's going to be a lot of things that transition. We're going to be doing some big projects this year, hopefully, as far as cosmetics, things that we'll be doing for the future, and then some DIY stuff that I think would be great for your gardens. So follow along. I hope you've hit subscribe. I hope you like this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye. Last three things, and this video is a